Hi, it's Mrs. Pope, and today we'll be talking about expressions and formulas. We're going to use order of operations, which you're familiar with, to evaluate these expressions and use formulas. The all too familiar PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or whatever the acronym is that you learned in grade school, but stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, left to right. So whatever comes first, multiplication or division, whichever comes first when you're reading left to right, that's the one you do. Then addition and subtraction. It doesn't have to go addition then subtraction. It's whichever of those comes first, left to right. So if you were to evaluate an expression such as this, m plus p minus 1 squared, if m is equal to 3 and p is equal to negative 4, we're just going to plug them in and find out what we get. So for m, we're going to put in a 3. So we have 3 plus negative 4 minus 1 squared. Make sure we go back to our parentheses now. Negative 4 minus 1 would be negative 5. So we would have 3 plus negative 5 squared. And then we would need to square that, use the exponents first, or parentheses, then exponents. So 3 plus 25, or 28 will be our final answer. Just make sure you use them in the correct order. That's all we want to make sure we understand today. All right, let's look at a couple more examples. Example 2, evaluate a plus b squared times the quantity b minus a if a is 5 and b is negative 3.2. Well, let's plug in everything and see where it leaves us. So we have 5 plus negative 3.2 squared times negative 3.2 minus 5. I want to make sure I have that all written up there correctly. All right, so now we have parentheses, two sets of parentheses, and we also have an exponent. So let's look at the parentheses. There's nothing we can do in this one, so we'll leave that the same until we get to the exponent. But we can simplify this one. So we would have 5 plus negative 3.2 squared minus 8.2. That took care of that parenthesis. No, not minus. Times. Hopefully you were saying something about that. Times a negative 8.2. Hopefully you caught that. Times a negative 8.2. So now we've gotten rid of, we've simplified this parenthesis. Let's use our exponents now because we're done with parentheses. Let's square it. So we would have 5 plus 10.24. If you had your calculator and you squared that. And we still have to multiply that by negative 8.2. So now we want to use multiplication. So we need to multiply these before we add 5. So if you multiply these and then you add 5, try it for a second, see if you get the right answer, or see if you get the same thing as I did. And I got negative 78.968. So just make sure you multiplied first and then went ahead and added the 5. Okay, example 3, evaluate this expression here, x to the 4th minus 3wy divided by y cubed plus 2w. Here's w, x, and y. Let's plug them all in and see what you get. You may want to pause, try it on your own, and then just come back and see if you get what I got. So let's start. Negative 3 to the 4th power minus 3 times 4 times negative 5 all over negative 5 cubed plus 2 times 4. So you should have everything plugged in that way. And then let's simplify our multiplication first. And then we're going to subtract. You could do all this at once if you're using a calculator, that's fine. Or you could take negative 3 to the 4th, then multiply all these, subtract them. I want you to do whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing to turn this numerator into a single number and the denominator into a single number. So try that and tell me, hopefully, you got 141 over negative 117. If you reduced it already, you would have had 47 39s, I think it was. And yeah, don't forget my negative. Hopefully that's what you got. So if you got something different, let me know tomorrow. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can correct it together. Or maybe you're wrong. Who knows? All right, let's move right along. Last example. Example 4, we're going to look at tornadoes. So the volume of a cone can be represented by this equation, and it can be used to approximate the volume of a tornado because a tornado is kind of shaped like a cone. So we want to use this formula to find the volume of the tornado I have drawn here. So our formula tells us 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height. Well, I know the radius from looking at the picture would be 75, and the height is going to be 225. So we just want to plug those in and find the volume of this tornado. So V would be equal to 1/3 pi times 75 squared times 225. So go ahead, check that in your calculator, and you should get around about, it's a pretty big number, 1,325,359 cubic meters. So see if you got that in your calculator. If you didn't get that, let me know tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and remember, you are responsible for your own learning.